Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast, and today I'm so excited for you to meet Erin Gray. She is the owner of Generate a Life Well Lived and supports female founders to have fun and feel confident with their money and in their business. She's a former certified financial planner with over 10 years helping run her family's water construction business. She was a classic overachiever and overworker. And, typically a lot of times from the outside, things can look amazing in somebody else's life, but she'll dive into more of this, but it's going to, shares that she felt very stuck and frustrated and bored and needed to take some time off in order to really figure out what she wanted, follow her heart's desire, and, found human design and was able to transform her life and her way of thinking about money and how to live her day to day so that she has learned how to interact with people and herself and really be able to create that transformation. So thank you so much, Erin, for joining us today.
Thanks, Daniela, for having me.
I know I was kind of summarizing a lot of your bio there because I think there's such a story behind that journey. And so I wanted you to be able to really dive in and share it.
Thanks. Man, when you read it, I just felt my body and I just felt like so much love for Erin back then. You don't realize how far. I think so often we think about where we want to go and just recognizing wow, Erin, that was a journey of where you were, how you felt. And yeah, it's true. It feels like night and day of where I used to be, right? So stressed out, so burnt out, just going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And yeah, what a complete 180. So I, like you said, finance is my background. I think I've always, even before I wanted to do finance, I thought I wanted to go to medical school. And so all of my decisions have always been based around how can I help people and how can I make money? Mm-hmm. And that's great. And also not at the expense of your well-being, not at the expense of your body, not at the expense of giving up family time and ignoring your family. And that's kind of basically has been my story with, putting money almost on mm-hmm. a pedestal above all else. And so really reframing that story, reframing how that feels in my body to have a more loving relationship with money versus I would probably say a fear-based and almost, I would probably say graspy relationship with money. Mm-hmm. I probably was that very, what is it called when you're a girlfriend that always checks up on you, always is questioning where you're going, what you're doing. That was probably old Erin with her money.
For me, that just sounds like my Sicilian mother. Is that who it was? You had a Sicilian mother?
But when we describe our relationship with money, you're like, oh, that feels terrible, And it's mm-hmm. That's kind of actually, we're not taught to have relationships, but that's really what we are. We're in relationships with spouses. We're in relationships with children, with our friends, with our money, with, ourselves. And so, yeah, when I started to think about it, I'm like, ooh, I'm not a very good girlfriend at all. So
yeah. And I think so many of my listeners, and I could even relate to the fact that, we do kind of put money on this pedestal and we give it a priority over the things we say are important, like our family, like our friends, like time and all these other things. But yet when it comes to where are we prioritizing our time, we're putting it towards the money. We're putting it towards, checking up on it, making more and thinking that's going to give us the freedom to enjoy the life we say we want when that's not really the case.
Yeah. I mean, that's I think one of the biggest lies. I have full body chills right now. I'm I think that's one of the biggest lies we've ever been told, right? Reach financial freedom. It's as if that there is a number that is going to make you feel free and safe and secure. Mm-hmm. And at least for me and my clients and people I talk to all over the world, like that doesn't happen, right? Like, I mean, the way that our emotions are generated and how we feel is like, that's an inside job. And also coming back to like the not so great girlfriend is like, we're putting a lot of pressure on money to like meet a lot of our needs that we need to actually meet within ourselves first. And then we get to like have money as our sidekick versus money, you know, you're supposed to make me feel free. You're supposed to make me feel safe. You're supposed to make me, you know, bring me the fun and all that versus doing that for ourselves and then having money as the byproduct or, you know, the sidekick.
Absolutely. So when you took that time off, I mean, how obviously I can just imagine as we're talking about it, you know, mentally going through a lot, as well as, you know, just physically and emotionally, like just all those pieces.
Yeah. I mean, that's the stuff that nobody tells you about. Like as a financial planner, you know, we focus so much on retirement and, you know, neural pathways and saving and all that kind of stuff. Not that you teach your clients neural pathways and financial planning, but I'm just saying like, you know, how the neural pathways are built and we're saving. And then now we're expected to like make this flip or switch. Right. And even though I'm not air quotes retirement age, I definitely was a workaholic and I didn't realize that that was covering up so much that I had with my relationship with money. And so then when I took time off, like you're saying, okay, now I don't like, who am I if I'm not working? Who am I if I'm not making money? Who am I if I'm not saving? Who am I now that I'm using my money? Like there was so much wrapped up in it. And really the body, like I always say, you know, people don't talk about this stuff. It's like, I was friends with the toilet a lot, like the actual like cleansing of my body. And like, I would have rashes and just all of these physical manifestations that showed up that I had probably suppressed, repressed, buried because I hadn't really given myself time and space to be with my body and my emotions with money.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what were some of the stories you were telling yourself and, you know, to work through that? How were you changing that narrative?
You mean the stories that in order to feel differently about money?
Yeah.
Yeah. I say slow and steady. Like it definitely wasn't like, oh, we don't have enough money I feel so abundant because my body did not believe that at all. So more so of curiosity. I think it was more so emotions, right? Curiosity, really starting to like, where did these stories come from? I mean, I openly talk about there was very pivotal moments when I was a child at 10 that really probably shaped. I learned about money trauma, and understanding that and recognizing that is a, you know, because I had taken is it called the ACE test? And I thought like, oh, well, I didn't score anything on that. So there's clearly is nothing that I haven't, like, why am I still feeling this way? And then recognizing and understanding like money trauma is a thing. And so really getting curious, doing a lot of more body energy work. I mean, we can tell ourselves, you know, I have enough money for today, but if your body is freaking out and you haven't really worked through the body part of it, telling ourselves that over and over again, our body it's almost like resistance or rejection of that. Right.
Yeah.
And so really starting to, get curious and, you know, think about like, how do I want to have, first of all, it's the awareness, right? It's like, how is my relationship with money? Like writing it out, like, what does it look like? Okay. How do I want to have a relationship with money? That's like the number 10, right? So I was going from like 0 to like 1. Like, I just want to be able to open my bank account and feel this intenseness in my body. Like that's where I had to start, you know? And so, you know, it's okay to feel like it was almost a lot of like reparenting. Like it's okay to feel really scared in this moment. Right. And, you know, hand on heart and like, it's okay to, you know, feel shame about how you feel with your money right now. And just a lot of tenderness and then working through that part and then being like, and then what would it feel like? Like, what do people, because this is another fallacy. It's like people that you believe or you think that people that have money have a great relationship with money, but that's not always true either. Right. And so understanding and like, well, what would a person that truly feels safe and has, and is wealthy from an emotional wealthy standpoint, not just wealth in their bank account, how do they interact with money and how do they, and so trying on different, you know, you have to become that person and, you know, thinking about like, how do I want to be with money? How do I want to feel with money? And thinking of it like a relationship versus, like I said at the beginning, right? Like it does this for me. It's supposed to, I'm supposed to get that from it, things of that sort.
Yeah. And I always, people, when we talk about self-care, I talk a ton about self-care, and I include the way you think about money is part of your self-care, because just everything you've described about how it affects you mentally, emotionally, physically, as well as that self-compassion that you just tapped into,
Yeah.
And just how important it is, and that it's not about how many dollars are in the bank account, but just having that knowledge and being comfortable sitting with whatever those feelings are. I think so many times we just try and escape, whether it's negative physical feelings, negative emotional feelings, as opposed to learning how to kind of work with them and kind of be partners with even the uncomfortable feelings, I think has a lot of power.
Yeah. I mean, the short and the quick answer is I got really good at feeling the lower vibrational emotions, right? That's not what people are sold or told, like that's going to get you to where you want to go. But like, that's what I got good at. And we think like, oh, well, we're going to you want to practice feeling abundant and joy and all that. It's like, yeah. And really what we got to be willing to feel is like courageous and, the shame or the guilt or just those emotions. And the reason why I think that they feel so intense in our bodies in the beginning is because we're just not practiced at feeling it. Like just what you said, Danielle, it's like, we're so used to like, oh, I don't feel that. So either we're going to like fake it and we're going to tell ourselves something to not, have to feel that, or we're going to overwork, or we're going to drink, or we're going to shop, or we're going to just do something to get us away from that feeling. Versus, you know what, for the next 30 seconds, I'm just going to sit in this feeling and I'm going to just see where it is in my body. And I'm going to love myself, anyway.
Yeah. Because I think it allows us, from what you were just saying, to kind of separate our value from that money. Because I think when we tie our self-worth and our value to money, that's where a lot of that shame and guilt and those other things come from.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was me having to extrapolate like, okay, it's me and then there's money, and they're not intertwined, but in a world where we are taught that how much you make and how much you have and all of this is wrapped up in your, and I always say like, we literally take our grades from when we were younger or in college, and that value we place on ourselves, and we move it to money as an adult, right? And so they're not, your worthiness, your lovability, your deservedness, like has nothing to do with how much money is in your bank account. And having to really see that and break those chains is the word that comes to mind, apart.
Yeah. So when somebody works with you, when they come to you, what are some of, whether it's, kind of consistent mistakes you see people making, or where would be someplace you would start them?
So I think that, and also too, I think the financial industry, you said like mistakes, and it's like, it's almost like we've been taught like there's a wrong way and a right way to be with your money versus that compassionate curiosity of like, okay, if you're noticing that you're not looking at your money, it's not a mistake. Like, let's just figure out what are you feeling that's causing you to not look at your money? Mm-hmm. And so I think we're so quick to bash ourselves, like, well, this is what I've done. And I, like I need to fix it, versus that curiosity, that loving parent that's like, well, hang on a second. So I notice like we're either avoiding money. That's typically what clients do, or they don't, or they outsource their power to, oh, my CPA is doing that, or my bookkeeper is doing that, or, my financial advisor says that. And it's like, yeah. And what do you want to do? And noticing how much we've been conditioned to like, oh, they know more than us. They're the expert. Right. And so then we just put it on them, versus coming back to ourselves. And I'm like, I know that that's what the CPA said. And maybe either I still don't understand something, so let me ask some more questions, or, let me, like, how else can we do this? Because that doesn't necessarily feel good in my body to do it that way.
Right. Now, just curiously, do you still see any gender differences when it comes to money as well? Like I'd read somewhere that, women couldn't even have a credit card in 1974. I was like, oh my God, I never knew that when I was little, my mom couldn't have a credit card, without her husband signing. So you think of like all the single women and things like that, like how disempowering I think some of those lessons were. Do you still see any of that as far as how women think about money versus men?
Yeah. I mean, my clients are typically between, 40 to 60-ish. And it definitely, I still think that that's kind of bred within, like you have, I do think I'm kind of the atypical, because I grew up in finance. I did that. And so I am the one that mainly does our money in our house, and my husband sits down with me and we do that. But I have noticed a lot of women, the husband does it. And so it's almost this asking for permission versus empowered of like, where is our money? How do we want to use our money? Things of that sort. And so, yeah, I do think that there is still some, I guess, gender differences of, like it's almost like a topic, like they somehow have had the belief like I'm not good with it. So then that stops them from learning about it or understanding it. It's almost like I'm not good with it.
Yeah.
So I just don't even look at it versus I want to be good at it. I'm learning, I'm growing. What do I need to learn?
Absolutely. You're talking growth mindset there, which I love, because I think a lot of times when it comes to certain categories, we do take that fixed mindset of, oh, I'm not good at math. I'm not good with numbers versus yet, I'm not good yet, but I can learn, So as kind of that head of money in your household, what are some of the habits that you practice on a daily basis now that you've kind of gone through this process and have changed your relationship with money? Are there things you do daily, weekly, monthly to maintain some of that?
Yeah, for sure. Gratitude. Like, I mean, if money is I truly believe money is like the portal into ourselves or the reflection of ourselves. So if you were to look at like Erin, what did Erin think about herself 5 years ago? It was like, I'm not good enough. And that's exactly what I thought about my money, right? It was never enough. No matter how much we had, it was never enough. So now like a daily gratitude of like, I'm so grateful, money, really, I'm so grateful that you've hung out with me, even though I've treated you poorly, like, oh, that brings like tears to my eyes right now, like, I'm so grateful for you. Weekly, I sit down with money and like, okay, what have we used our money on? Is it still in alignment with our values? Like, once a month, we'll look at kind of like what we've set as, I don't like the word budget because sometimes it feels very restricting to some people, but just what have we decided we want to use our money on? And we'll talk about like, do we still want to continue to use our money this way? Or have we changed and maybe we thought we wanted to eat out like this, but we really haven't seen the value in it and it's not as fun for us. And so we change that. And then also paying attention to our investments. Like it was probably been a year ago that I decided to no longer use our financial advisor because it felt very transaction based. It was like we had a conversation once or twice a year and it was almost like checking the box. So really, I kind of took that over and I've done that and that has felt good until I find someone that I really connect with and it's more of a relationship based. So those would probably be and just being mindful and like thanking our money, like when we use our money, thanking our money and telling us that we appreciate it and I would probably say more so than anything is probably the gratitude of money being there for us, supporting us and loving on it versus you only pay attention to it when you want it to do something for you.
Right. Or when you don't have it.
Okay. Yeah. Or when you don't have it.
Yeah. And I love that you're talking about gratitude, which is one of my favorite things, but you're including money because so many times we focus on, our kids, our family, our health, our house, our jobs, but we don't really think money, even if we don't feel like we have maybe, again, those milestones, numbers that we have in our head to still appreciate the money we have, the things we do have is that whole basis of gratitude and to recognize, money has still done us good. It hasn't done us wrong just because it didn't buy everything we wanted.
And I think also like really slowing down, like really think about if money were to say things about you, what would money say about you?
Oh, that's harsh.
And that's what I asked myself. And I'm like, oh man, I feel terrible. Money would say like, you're conditionally loving of me. You think I'm never good enough. No matter how much I give you, you still think you need more or you're not satisfied. And those were the things that I really had to be like, gosh, and so really looking at it as a relationship, I think so much we think of it as a transactional thing versus, it is there to be with us and to have fun with us, but you've got to put in your part too, right? Like think of it as a partnership. If you had a spouse that you were always saying the kitchen isn't clean, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, like you're constantly berating them, like how long is the person going to hang around for until you're like, okay, this isn't fun anymore?
Right. I was reading this book. It was about money and it had to do with the energy of money. Happy Money by Ken Honda was a great book that talked about the energy of money. And again, energy comes from our relationships. And I love how you even talk about with your financial planner, because I was talking with mine and financial planning group actually hosts these get-togethers a couple times a year where we're not there to talk about money. We're just there to like, it's with other people from the group as well. And just to have those friendships, those relationships, they know how our kids are doing, we know how their kids are doing. And it has just that stronger connection so that they're not just there looking at my numbers. They know me, know?
Yeah, it feels, and it felt, I mean, this was obviously on me of how I felt, but it felt a lot of times it was like, because obviously, I had taken time off, which is kind of against what you do for finances, so like, I had a lot of shame around asking for money, using some of our investments. And I was like, hang on a second, like this is money that we have created and generated and invested and saved. Like how I want to use it is not, I was judging myself, and also just from the financial industry of like not using your money until retirement versus like, no, but I want some time off and that feels good for me. And that's what's going to nourish me. So, and yeah, very transactional, just like, okay, it's time to, go over your investments versus like you're saying, how are you? How is your family? How are you? I mean, we never talked emotionally about money. Like I haven't met a whole lot of, I think that's changing right now in the financial industry, but I haven't met a whole lot of, going back financial planners that are like, tell me how you feel with your money.
Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of taking that step back is so contradictory to the whole hustle culture.
Yes.
I think that other part of it too, you think to make more money, you need to keep working harder as opposed to make more money. And this is, something I would say, to be more productive, to be more successful, you actually do need to take some space in your day. You need to take a step back every day, or else you're not going to keep going forward. You're just going to stop.
Yeah. I mean, just like how we demand money, we demand things of money, we demand things of ourselves. Like when have we given our bodies time to rest? When do we give our bodies time to rejuvenate? And so it's like, I think sometimes a workhorse like money, we do the same thing for ourselves and our bodies, right? It's like this is the only home we'll ever have. Like, and we want to live in it for, 80, 90, 100 years. It's like, you got to take care of it. Like, are you eating well? Are you, drinking fluids? Are you giving yourself time when your body's telling you to nap? Are you actually napping? Or are you like, okay, let me just pour some more caffeine in my body? Like, how are you actually taking care of yourself? And yeah, I mean, and I think that is possibly, I mean, I've met other people that have taken some time off. But for sure, I felt like, you're crazy, Erin. What are you doing? Like, who does that?
No, I'm so glad you did. And I love the fact that you help other people kind of create that same space and relationship with money to live, just more aligned and in a happier and better way on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So how can people find you, Erin? How can they work with you?
Yeah, they can either just go to my website, or I have a podcast, Generate a Life Well Lived. And we talk all things, like I call it the 3D of money. So I have like CFPs and estate attorneys, and just we talk all things 3D finance, and then also like the spirituality, emotional, energetic side of money, and honoring your intuition, trusting yourself, coming back home to yourself.
Awesome. And all her links will be live in the show notes below. So thank you so much, Erin, for joining us and for sharing your story and your journey, because I think definitely somebody listening can hear that it's okay to do these things, and that is such a huge gift.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger. As well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon. Bye.